Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're going to go through some of the examples in the notes for chapter 2. So we'll start with this example 1, which is just after where we ended last time. So this is a typical Sec 2 stuff, beginner stuff. So we're going to do it quickly, okay? So there's a few parts to this question. It says solve this, and then you got to draw it on the number line. Okay, that's one part. And then they ask you two more parts later. So let's do one by one. So we're going to solve this, right? So I start with this one. So remember, I want x, right? So on this one, I'm going to both side plus x. So this is why the x became over here. And I'm also going to both side minus 3. So that's why it becomes like that. And then typically, I want to write the x on the left side. So I will just write it on the left and everything follows. So that's the answer. So I need to continue, so illustrate the solution on the number line. So I'm going to draw a number line just here, right? So there's, in this case, there's only one number, there's 5. So 5, and I need less than 5. So it's an open circle and it points to the left because all the numbers here are less than 5. The circle is not shaded because the 5 is not included. If 5 was included, it means there's an equal sign at the bottom. So this has to be shaded. Okay. So after that, let's answer the question. So if x is a prime number, I need to write down the largest value that satisfies the equation. So x needs to be less than 5. And x also needs to be a prime number. So 5 is not included because it's not including 5. So I'm going to go down the list. So 4 is not a prime number. Then next one is 3. So 3 is a prime number. That's why 3 is the answer in this case. It's just common sense, right? So after that, so I'm supposed to write down a positive integer x that satisfies the equation. So again, x must still be less than 5. And I want all the positive integers. So if I go down the list, you're looking at 4, 3, 2, 1. Now 0 is not counted because 0 is not considered positive. Or is it negative? So it's neither. That's why 0 is not included. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the 4 numbers. You can see that the answer is here too. Okay, so after this, I'm going to go through a few examples in the notes only, not all. The rest, like this few, you can try yourself. Okay, so we're going to do this. This is the classic one. We do this by so-called cross multiply, right? But you must know, like we mentioned the other time, it's actually both sides times 15. Okay, so it's times 15 times 15. That's why over here left 5, over here left 3. And once you have this, you just expand and just shift things around. You got the answer. So this one is more interesting. You can see that there's 3 terms here. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it. Whichever you try is up to you. So if you look at the denominator, we do not want any denominator. So we need to get rid of the denominator. So a few choices. I see 4, I see 2. So clearly, if I everything times 4, all the denominator is going to say goodbye, right? So I'm going to times 4, times 4, times 4. Everything. So if I times 4, the 4 and the 2 will cancel, left 2. If I times 4, the 4 and the 4 will cancel, so I'm left with the numerator. And half times 4, basically just 2. And then I expand everything, shift around, I solve. So the other method we're talking about here is, I don't know whether you like this better, but I don't like this, but I'm still going to show it. So I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to combine these 2 fractions. Because after I combine, it will look something like this. A fraction, inequality sign, and a fraction. And then I do the cross multiply, so-called cross multiply from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these 2 terms on the right side. So see, this is denominator 4, denominator 2. I'm going to change it to 4. So now that both the denominator are the same, I'm going to combine it. So it's 3 minus d plus 2. So it becomes like this. At this point, I'm going to do the so-called cross multiply, both sides. I'm going to just here times 4, here times 2. So this is what I call cross multiply. Expand everything and then you shift around. So you see, both answers are the same, obviously, but this I feel is way better. So I'm going to go through just one step for this question, for example. So in this case, if you are going to do it in this way, you're going to have to combine this fraction. Now that's a bit too crazy, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the denominator 4 and 2 and 1. Obviously the best choice is to just everything times 4. So times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So times 4, left 2, times 4, the denominator goes away, times 4, no more denominator, times 4 becomes 8, and then you expand everything, shift around, you solve. So this will be, I think, way superior. Okay, so before we end, I'm going to do one word problem. This is the question, the kind of question where you have to form the equation, inequality yourself. So you need to form it yourself. They won't give it to you. So you've got to read, right? So they scored 66 one test, 72 one test, and then there's a third test. Ask you what's the minimum mark, so that the average is 75 or more. So you need to read the English and try to convert it to the inequality. So how do you know it's inequality? Minimum, 75 or more. These are terms that are all inequality related, because it's not a fixed number, it's something or more, something or less, at least, at most, the kind of language, right? So if you read, well, I want what? The average to be 75 or more. Here, 75 average, 75 or more. So that's the inequality here. So ask yourself, in this story, how do you find the average? There's how many tests? 1 test, 2 tests, and the third test. So clearly it is the 3 tests added together divided by 3. So that's exactly what you need to figure out in your head before you even do. Okay, so you let the x be the third test, which is the answer, right? And then you add them together. So first test, second test, third test, add together divided by 3. And this needs to be more than or equal to 75 here. 75 or more. Once you can write this out, this becomes very easy to solve. I'm just going to times the 3 over. This one add together become like that. The number minus over, we're done. And so this inequality is not the answer, because they ask you for what is the minimum mark. I want a mark. So based on the inequality, it needs to be 87 or more. So clearly the smallest possible number is 87. So that is the answer. Okay, so that's all for this video. And that's basically all for the chapter. Thank you and bye-bye.